How's it going, guys? I'm here to review Malignant 2021.
When I was young, something happened to me.
Stop saying that.
Daddy, who are you talking to?
Gabriel.
Is he your imaginary friend?
Whatever you went through before you joined our
So this is the new film by James Wan. James Wan is a brilliant director. Or filmmaker. He made Saw, Insidious, Dead Silence, The Conjuring, and he also made Aquaman, Fast and Furious 7. So he made numerous movies. So this is his newest work, his newest art, his newest film, and it is now streaming on HBO Max and it's playing in theaters right now. And I'm just going to say the plot just a little bit because the more I say stuff about the plot or the summary for this movie, I'm pretty much going to spoil it because it's one of those movies that you can just say a little bit of the story, but if you say too much of the story, it's pretty much going to ruin the whole experience. I don't want to spoil everything because this movie is so limited on what they're trying to tell you with the trailers and TV spots, because the trailers and TV spots is marketing you, or it's telling you or showing you it look like it's going to be one of those another supernatural, like paranormal activity, demonic possession type horror movie that James Wan usually does with the Insidious and Conjuring movies. But this movie, I assure you, I guarantee this movie is different. This movie is anything but paranormal activity or ghosts, demons, possession. It's not, or a haunted house movie. It's none of that. It's nothing supernatural. I mean, it does have supernatural elements, but it's not totally a supernatural movie. It's like a throwback to like a 90s like horror, body horror, monster movie type slasher with supernatural element. It's hard to explain. Once you guys watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. This movie stars Annabelle Wallis. She was in the original Annabelle, or at least the first Annabelle movie. That one was not directed by James Wan. It was a different filmmaker, but yes, she was in another horror movie, which was Annabelle, and then she was in The Mummy with Tom Cruise, the one that came out back in 2017. And the character she plays in this movie is named Emily. Emily goes through a lot of stuff in this movie. She experiences visions from her dark past, and she experiences abuse from her husband, and then how she had many miscarriages. She always loses her babies. But every time she sees a vision, she sees a vision of people that are getting hunted and getting killed off one by one by some, you would think it's probably by some force, how the trailers are marketing like some kind of demonic force, but it's actually a person. It's a crazy, like, that's why it has slasher vibes. It's like a serial killer.
You created him
Daddy, what's going on?
so that you could survive.
I wanted to do something that was a bit different, but yet hark back to my roots.
And the serial killer is not showing its face. The serial killer has long hair, and then the serial killer, when it does show its face, like a quick flashes, the serial killer's face is all deformed. But that's all I can say for this. That's the plot in a nutshell. She experiences visions about this killer killing people, and she's gonna do what it takes to try to like solve this mystery and stop this killer, including the help of the cops, pretty much. So that's the plot in a nutshell, and without any spoiling anything, of course, because there's a lot more to it than this simple plot. There's a lot more to it, and I'm not gonna spoil it. So what do I think of this movie? This movie is actually unique. I liked it. I enjoyed it for what it was, or for what it is. It's different. It's not like I said, it's not like another paranormal activity, haunted house, demonic possession type movie, because don't get me wrong, I like those type of horror movies. I like what James Wan does to that genre, but I feel like I don't know. Like, first going into this, I was expecting just another paranormal activity, demonic movie, like, oh, here we go. The typical jump scares, the typical, just like the same shit pretty much. But no, this movie surprised me. It kind of started off like I was expecting, but then it goes to a different turn with all sorts of twists, and I enjoy it and I adore it. Yeah, this movie, very, very different. This movie is actually pretty brutal. The kills in this movie are very brutal, like the deaths, pretty gory. So it's very gory, very R-rated, that's for sure. Bloody. The special effects is great. The music for this movie, the score. I love the score for this movie. It has like a, I don't know how to explain it. It has like a synth wave type of John Carpenter-esque kind of vibe with the music, with the score, mixed with like Trent Reznor, like industrial type sounding. It's very hard to explain. It's like synthwave mixed with like industrial metal, if that makes sense. But I love the soundtrack for this movie because the soundtrack and the score for some of the scenes works out perfectly, in my opinion.
You gotta take chances. If you don't, you end up making the same old thing again and again and again. I think audiences are starved for something that's new and different.
Some people might not like this movie because it's like a throwback to like, I don't know, like 90s horror movies, or not even just that, but maybe like 2000s to mid 2000s type of horror movie feel. It's a throwback, and a lot of people don't get it's a throwback. That's why this movie turned a lot of people off, and pretty much a lot of people didn't like this movie. But I get what James Wan was trying to pull. Did he execute it well for every aspect in this movie? No, but he did it. He nailed it with the horror. But I will say, with the cheesy dialogue and the cheesy characters and the cheesy acting, that's where I think he kind of overdid it, or kind of like had a weakness on in this movie. Like, it didn't land perfectly. But of course, the aesthetic for this movie, how the movie looks, the horror, the soundtrack, like everything was good. It was like a total throwback. It worked out well. But yeah, some of the characters, at least the acting, was just a little bit cheesy. I think it was meant to be like that on purpose, because like I said, it was like a throwback to like cheesy horror movies like that. But did it land perfectly? No. So there's a lot of scenes I liked in this movie. A lot of good kills, like I said, a lot of good action sequences, because this movie starts off kind of like a supernatural horror movie to like a thriller type slasher crime movie, and then at the very end it goes like off the wall, like horror action. Yes, like horror action where the killer's literally kicking everyone's ass, and that's all I can say. It's awesome.
He's there too.
Who is?
So I enjoyed this movie for what it is. If I had to rate this movie out of 10, I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It was different. It does have some flaws. Some of the scenes were kind of cheesy, which I think it was on purpose. Some of the characters wasn't feeling. Some of the acting, the dialogue was pretty bad. But then again, you can tell that I think it was on purpose. But then again, it's like, is it? Like, you can't tell anymore if it's on purpose or not. That's why I mean, like, throwback to like cheesy horror movies, it could be risky sometimes if you do it right or don't do it right. But yes, that's my only complaint about this movie. So it is one of the better horror movies this year, and it is definitely unique and more fresh than all the other movies and work that James Wan did. So that was my quick review of Malignant 2021. Please leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Who is Gabriel?
I'm the only one that can see him.
That's him. He wants to talk to you.
Malignant. Rated R, September 10th.